So hi everyone, welcome back to another lesson on Python hands-on. So in previous lessons, we have already learned how to write a file, how to write or how to load a file content. Load means reading a file content from the with the help of Python. So in today's lessons, we are going to learn how to write or append a content into the file. So a file may be text file. Okay. So for doing so, I'm using VS Code or Visual Studio Code. So just properly structure or organize. Okay. So let me close this one, and this is my current folder. I'm going to create one file here that is called write to file. You can do like that and then give the extension py. Okay, so this is extension for Python file. Now fine, first let's create the one variables, and this variable has file path. Okay, so let's call file path. Why I'm calling file path? Because sometime by mistake you can write some file1, file2, right? So that's why I'm giving this to, it will be always will work as a reminder, every time you have to pass the file path. Okay, based on your current Python script location. Okay, and then after, in last video we have already seen we have to use try and with, so that our code will be properly aligned or properly formatted, or good practice for handling. And then here, okay, and then also called except, and then just call general exception. So this will handle every type of exception, right? But if you want to handle some specific type of exception, then you can write based on the exception. So there is different type of exception available. File not found, not able to read something, or maybe num0, something like that. It can be that. So I'm first defining a structure of the program, and error occurred, and let's call the object of that error. Okay, fine. Now we have to go into write code. So first let's call the with. What is use of with? With will take care of the closing of the file whenever writing operation is done. Okay, so this will take care of the closing of the file. Now call the open function, and then open, inside open just call the file path. This is here. Okay, and then here you have to mention the mode. How you can see different mode are here. Okay, a miss append, b w, there is different append mode. So now we have to only consider w. Okay, so means writing, there might be something w plus t, something like that. Okay, but we do not have to mention t, because by default it's a considering, we have already mentioned text file, right? So this is text file. Fine. Now call some object as a file object, so that it will everything will be very properly organized, and we are using some meaningful variables here, right? Now just we have to call file objects, and then after, just like we have read method, just like have write method. Okay, so just call write, and then you can write everything. Hi, I am learning Python. I am learning how to write content to file in Python, right? I'm just writing something like that. And also make sure every time you're writing, line will not automatically change, right? So every time you want to write something, so make sure you can use /n. So why use of /n? So you can call any number of time. Okay, you can call any number of time, right? It will write something, but I will not add this /n, so all the content will not separated by new line, right? So that's why I'm writing here, because you can do, right? If you want to make your content written in the file line by line in the or in same line, you can do that. But making so I am going to write the content in two different line. So first line, okay, fine. So let's delete this one and new what content I can write. I am learning how to write file and already learn how to read in previous video or previous lesson. Right? So this is, so what will happen? Okay, so let's explain. So this is file path. We are taking which file we are going to write. So this is file path, and we are opening open method, file path, then opening mode, and then file object. This is mandatory. We have to create the file object so that you can call directly, or else you can every time you have to call this method. Okay, this dot write, this dot write, but that is not good practice, right? So that's why we are creating objects. So this is the meaning of object. And then two times we are writing this file. We do not have to explicitly mention the closing, because with this keyword will handle the closing the file. So if we are calling the file and if we are writing the file, so we are calling in W mode, right? So what will happen if suppose this file does not exist? Okay, suppose this file does not exist in this file location. So this function will create a new file, okay, and then write the content. And whenever we calling W, so it always we start writing from the beginning. So suppose there is some content already available in this file. Okay, so two case will be happen if the file exists or not. So if file does not exist, this will create new file and write content. But if this file exists and this file is empty, okay, so it will write content, no case. But if there is already some content, if file exists and some content is already available in this file, okay, so in this case you have to take care this operation will override the file, because every time we are calling the write, it will be starting from the end. Okay, so overwriting will be happen, or all the content inside the file will be overwritten or deleted. Okay, so that's why there is many method, like we have to call W, okay, or maybe call append. So there is a different method. Okay, so if you want to add some content that is already available, and now we have to add this extra content, okay, at the end, so then you have to call append. Okay, so now but we are calling W for writing the file. Okay, so you can see there is no any file exist here, right, and we have written this two line. Okay, so let's do this, clear the first. Okay, maybe we can also print some messages here, inside this, or maybe after this print content is saved, right, so that we'll get some successful message, right? So what was the file name? Now write to, you can see here, write to file. So write to file and then call this one. Okay, so content is already saved. Now you can see there was something happen. So you can see here, so you can see this is our file content, right? Again, if you want to read this one, so again you have to do the same thing. How you can do? So let's call again here. Okay, and now we are going to read, right? So we do not have to mention W here, so just have to call print, and if I call content equal to, or now let's make something different. Okay, or you can create same variable multiple times, that is not an issue, because this is file is already closed. so it will not get any error, variable is already declared like that. Okay, so let's remove this one, because we are reading here, we are not writing here. Okay, so now you can see reading the content. What content? File content, right? File content. Fine, let's call this. Again we are using the same try catch block. If okay, let's call this. So you can see this file content is already saved. Till now this was our operations. After that we are calling the read. Now you can see here. Fine, so this is already done. Okay, so now again if we call the same thing, okay, so you can see, so first time we are run this code dial, so this content was already overridden, right? And maybe if you are again writing, if you are calling every time, so if you are calling next time, so every time this file content is going to override. But how can we confirm in the same line? Okay, so in this case you have to check, go to inside this file and write some content already. Okay, this is third, or like something, I am present in third line. Okay, so you can see this file. So first time this file does not exist, so first time we created and I written this content. Two use cases already handled, but now we are made some code, or we have already added some content in this file. Now what will this happen? All the content will be erased, okay, whenever we running this program, and only this two line will be saved. Why? Because write function every time override something, okay, and always start from the writing from the beginning. Okay, so but this is not good practice, so that's why called append. So how we can call append or solve this error, let me show you. Okay, so I'm content saved. Now you can see this is we are getting. So now go to the file. Okay, so you can see content is gone and only this file content is saved, right? Now if we call w, so or let's call normal is append. Okay, so append means appending something, so every time now it will append something. So you can see this content is already present. Okay, so now append will handle the same thing if there is no file exist, right? So first it will create the file, okay, and if file is empty, so then it will write this content inside this file, and again if there is some content available in this file, okay, so this will start adding at the end, appending, it will not overwrite. Okay, so your content will be saved. Okay, so let me show you. Let's first remove this one. Okay, so first case we are going to handle file is empty, a file is does not exist. You can see, let's call this one. Okay, so you see content is saved. Now you can see the file is appended, right? So we have written some line was already added, right? Fine. Now let's call every time. Okay, so whenever we calling multiple time this function, are you can see right is the same, the function call is again same. Okay, so but opening mode is different. Okay, we are so reading and writing are different, but mode is deciding in which thing we are going to do. Again if you are calling again and again multiple time, so all the content will be appended, not overwritten. Okay, overridden. So let's call this one file list. Now you can see this content is 4 times. Okay, so these things we want to achieve, right? So this is a good thing. Also if you do not want to call a, you can call w plus. Okay, so writing plus, it means it will add at the end, means appending. If call w, it called appending. Let's see the same thing. Okay, first clear this and then call. You can see file content is there. right? Let's call this again. What this is happening, content is saved. So what is meaning of is not doing the, okay, so I just might be forget something. W, what is W plus? Okay, let me see. So what was the use of W plus? Okay, so I just suppose, like, if you want to, because if you want to read and write file, right? So that time we are calling this one, right? Again we are using calling this one. But if the file content is already completed, okay, so we can open in reading mode. Okay, so it might be some tricky thing. So can we happen like whenever writing content, again in same line we are going to read. So it might be something like reading, writing, right? So simultaneously or at the end it will happen. So this will be very interesting thing. Okay, let me show you. Is this possible? Then is very good thing, right? Because and where this is happening, so if you already know operating system, so if you know the concept of publisher, and subscriber publisher, something like that, so it will be it will parallelly multiple thread we can call here. So let me call here. So how we can call? So let's call the print, and every time what we are going to do, call file dot read, file dot read. Okay, I'm trying differently. So what will happen? First time it means W plus writing and reading mode, it should be there. Again write here, okay, W plus mean writing plus reading, because after adding sometime it might be some scenario reading is important, right? Fine. So now what we are going to do, whenever we are writing the first line of code, again we are calling this one, okay. After this again we are calling this one, but I don't think this is a very good way, but let me try this one. It might be also new for me, just came randomly in my mind, okay. File is saved, okay, but there is no content available. Yeah, content is already available. Let's call it again. So we are not getting the content, right? So how we can do? So I suppose first writing operation should be closed, file should be closed, then we can open. We should not call to, I think if you are calling W plus, so first it should be close, okay, and then after we can call. Let me see how we can call this one. Is it working or not? IO operation closed, okay. So this is, I was talking like that, the exception handling part, okay. So there might be some system level error that was I want to show somewhere, but somehow forget to explain in last video, okay. So sometime file operation is closed, you will get something. So what is meaning of that then? Okay, so because we already know two times we can call, then what is used, right? If two times we can call read and write, if obviously if we are first closing this one, again doing writing something, okay. So what is extra thing? Okay, let's try this. Should be inside this. Why we are not but getting the output? File content is saved, we are getting this line, but why we are not able to get something? Obviously one way is always there, right? Just like that, I'm just saying this is always right. We do not have to, yeah, we do not have to call this. and just we call like that. This is always variables, right? So but there might be some extra thing I was trying to explain. Yeah, this is the fine, but what is the use, right? Two time we can call this. If you want to write something or if you read something, again we call. So what is meaning of W plus? Maybe we do not have to mention the reading mode. Yeah, by default is already reading mode. Okay. Okay, fine. So I think you can comment down below what will be the answer of this one. Okay, I will also little bit research and then I will let you know. Okay, in next video. So hope till now the whole discussion you understood properly. Okay, and that was very helpful for you. Okay, so thank you for watching everyone. So let's meet in another one.